Good afternoon. Tom Ginn, G-Force. G is for gratitude. G-Force Friday. I am so grateful for this day. Gratitude is one of the most powerful words that we can incorporate in our thinking, in our life, and in our hearts. Because no matter what's going on, if we take that space and contemplate on being grateful of what we have, be grateful for what we don't have, and be grateful for what our future expectations are. So we are in difficulty. Gratitude causes us to look at things differently. It's a powerful word. And today I'm grateful to have a friend and a colleague that I've known for, I think, Ian, it's probably going to be about 3 years. I'm going to introduce you here in a second. But I'm excited to introduce Ian. I'm grateful for him to carve out some time in his busy schedule to share his story and real estate and what it's doing for him and his family and filling his dream. So with that, I'm going to bring on Ian Key. Hello, Ian. How you doing, buddy?
Fantastic, Tom. Thank you so much. And I'm grateful to you for having me here.
Well, I'm excited for you, and you've got a great story. You've got great information. I know we're going to be on more than once because what you do, you can't cover what the wealth of knowledge and what you're experiencing and what you teach in this time we're going to be together this afternoon. So I just, before I get going, I just want to make sure that, share this out. Anybody that's out there that comes in, just share this information out. Great content, great information with this. So tag your friends and share it out. But coming back to Ian here, today I'm just going to let you turn to here is building your dreams and wealth with real estate. Go ahead and share your story. Tell us a little bit where you're from and let you go.
Absolutely. Well, I was born at a young age, like most of us, and I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset my entire life, and I knew I wanted to do something for myself as opposed to the 40-40-40 plan, which is work for 40 years and then retire when you're 40 and only earn 40% of the income that you struggle to live off the rest of your life anyways. And that plan is broken. And I knew that. And so what I did was look for a way to create passive income for myself so I could do what I love. After college, I worked on cruise ships for about 3.5 years, which was amazing. I got paid to travel around the world, but it's still a job. So when I moved back to the States, I decided, hey, let's do real estate investing. Well, my first foray into the research of real estate investing determined that, you know what, it's actually a lot of work to be a real estate investor. So at first I was like, no, never mind, not doing that. But 6 months later, as I kept searching, I realized that real estate really is one of the best, if not the best way to develop wealth and to create income for yourself and freedom for your lifestyle, freedom for whatever you want to do. If you're stuck trying to help yourself, it's really hard to help other people. And I'll talk about my why in a little bit later, but it has to do with the way that I was brought up. I grew up overseas. My parents were missionaries in China, and missionaries, you can't technically say that in China, but they were English teachers. So what I did was focus on how to be a successful real estate investor. There's many options that you can do to become successful at anything. In real estate, there's a lot of real estate gurus who will have a 3-day boot camp for you, which typically have great information, but it's hard to implement what you learn in a 3-day boot camp, again, when you're on your own after that. You could hire a coach. You could hire Google, go Google and go on YouTube and try to learn everything yourself. However you do it, you're going to pay for your education one way or the other. So my focus was on buying long-term rental properties. And I participated in some training. I became a part of an accountability group with support where I could learn from other people, from experienced investors. And I decided that long-term rentals, where you buy single-family homes, duplexes, multifamily, where you buy those and you create cash flow from long-term rental properties. And I started off buying my first single-family home in May of 2018. And boy, when you get your first rental property under your belt, you complete your first transaction, it's great. It feels really good. And you're like, wow, let me do that again. But when you think of real estate, a lot of people think, oh, you need a lot of money to do this. Money is only one of the 5 currencies. And when I talk to people about investing in real estate, being a real estate investor, it's important to know not just how we're going to do something, but why we're going to do it. So I mentioned money is one of 5 currencies. It's the least important one. The most valuable real estate is our time. Sorry, the most valuable currency is our time. Time is the only thing we can't make more of. You have the time that you have. The other 3 currencies are knowledge, relationships, and credibility. Most people are worried about real estate investing or worried on how they're going to get started in real estate investing because they don't have the money, they think. But once you focus on knowledge, relationships, and credibility and get those going how they ought to be going, money typically just falls into place. So when I talk for myself, the way I started was there's a 3-phase roadmap of how I started. Phase number 1 is focusing on knowledge, building up your knowledge. The more you know about something, the more likely it is that you're going to have success at it. But that's just the first step. In phase number 1, build knowledge. Also, do a little bit of building relationships in phase 1 as well. Do it with people that are within your community, within a group of people that you can know, like, and trust, because if you fail in front of those people, it's okay. You can feel stupid, and it's okay to fail. If you had the book Go for No, read that. All of your success is not built on success. Success is built on failure after failure, just failing forward in the right direction. Fail as fast and as often as you can, and as big as you can. You learn a lot that way.
Yeah, you just mentioned something. The challenges people have, usually the challenges start right here in our thinking, right? So we think I don't got money. So that's, in reality, if you follow the things you've learned, you realize that's not the big obstacle. There's solutions to not having the capital resources.
Absolutely.
But I think what you said is time. Is, when opportunities come and things in our life, we can't let it get away, because we can't let time get away, because it's the most valuable resource we have. So I think that's important, what you said there. But most people focus on knowledge first, and that's important. Where would you put relationship? Is in that order: relationship over knowledge, or knowledge over relationships? Or,
well, I think that knowledge is important to focus on first, because when you start to build relationships, you want to have some level of knowledge. When I go and talk to mortgage brokers or real estate agents or plumbers or anybody, if I don't know what I'm talking about at all, my credibility is shot.
Okay.
So building that knowledge to begin with is super key. Now, I was able to be a part of a community and a group of other real estate investors that understood where I was coming from. It's for accountability, it's for support. And so if I don't have a lot of knowledge in front of those guys, no big deal. We all understand where we're coming from. So that's why we focus on knowledge first within a relationship setting that's friendly, that's safe. The first type of knowledge that you want as a real estate investor is how to find deals. If you don't know how to find deals, you have nothing. It's like any business owner, if you don't have leads in your business, whether you sell shoes or you sell jeans on eBay or you're a restaurant, if nobody's coming in the door, you're not making any money. So as a real estate investor, you need leads for properties that you can buy. It doesn't matter what your exit strategy is, whether you want to hold long-term rentals, if you want short-term rentals, if you want to fix and flip it, wholesale it, lease option it. You get the picture. There's a lot of exit strategies, but regardless of your exit strategy, you need to find that property lead to begin with.
Yeah, and I think that goes in line with one of my favorite persons, and it's is Warren Buffett. He says, from socks to stocks, if I can get it at a bargain, I'm going to buy. And I think that falls in line. What you're doing is recognizing a value at a bargain price, right? Or at the lowest possible price
Absolutely.
you can.
And real estate is actually the ideal investment for a number of reasons, but one of which you just said, buying at a bargain. As an investor, I will never buy a piece of real estate at full market price. And most people, even if they're not real estate investors, they understand that. Real estate investors, if the house is worth $100,000, you're not going to buy it for $100,000 to buy it at a discount. For most other investment opportunities that are available to you, you cannot buy things at a discount. Whatever the cost of Microsoft is, that stock, you have to buy it for whatever the cost is at the time. You can't buy it for 50% of the cost. Same thing for gold. Same thing for almost everything. Real estate is unique in that you can buy it at a discount. You can negotiate. You can solve challenges. That as a real estate investor, that's actually your number one job, is to be a problem solver. Find information and solve that problem for somebody.
When you got into, you're going to allude to your why a little bit here in a minute, but so when you made it, how did you get introduced to real estate, and what was the process that you went through to recognize it was the vehicle for you, and now you want to demonstrate that the vehicle works and then share with people how they can do the same thing? How did you get introduced to it, and where did you learn? How did you get the knowledge? How did you build those relationships to create that credibility? How did that all come about?
Great question, Tom. Well, prior to working on cruise ships, right after I graduated from college, I already had in my mind, hey, passive income. And so what I did was I started creating these small little websites, and I put Google ads on the website, and then I started doing search engine optimization so that when people search for whatever key term and found my website, they click on my ad and I get paid by Google. I got up to like $100 a month of passive income. I felt pretty good about that, but $100 a month is not where I want it to be. And then Google changed their algorithms, and that 100 went to zero overnight. So I knew that that is something that I had no control over. Google had control over all of that. I wanted something that I could control. So real estate investing, you can control when you buy it. You can control how much you pay for it. You can control the tenants that you put in it. You can control how you force appreciation by rehabbing or changing the use of the property. There's so many ways that you can control real estate where you can't control, Google, or you can't control the price of stocks.
Got it. That's a great explanation of why real estate is something you can control, and versus something else controlling your decision. So that's really powerful. I appreciate that. So you got into this on an active basis, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah, about 2.5, 3 years ago is when I actively started learning about real estate investing. I was interested prior to that, but just like anything else, it requires action for you to be successful. When I first started, I didn't take any action. That's something that I had to learn the hard way. Being a business owner and being a real estate investor and surrounding yourself with other people who are like-minded than you, you probably started it to make profit and to make money, and that's still true. Like the purpose of my business is to make profit so that I can go out and do whatever. My individual purpose is not profit, but my business is. My business must make profit so that I can do those things that I want to do. But even though that's how it started, what it turned into was a whole ton of personal development. I am not the same person that I am today than I was 5 years ago. And understanding that things don't just fall into place without you taking responsibility and taking action.
I think when we first met at EIB, and I remember one of our first conversations at a coffee shop there in Brookfield, I think it was,
Yep.
and we're on the same plane, knowing that to win in life in anything, it's really about that personal development. It is, knowledge is one thing, but knowledge itself isn't going to help you become successful. It's important, like you said, it builds credibility when you talk to somebody to influence them. You know what you're talking about, but it really comes to believing in yourself. And so what would you say to anybody that's getting in this industry, besides learning knowledge and taking courses and all the different resources out there? What would be your recommendation on understanding how to think in a way that will get you to your end result?
I've seen a lot of people. That's a great question, Tom. I've seen a lot of people attempt to succeed at different things, and their own mindset is what's holding them back. There's a book called Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins. I highly recommend that book. It's all about letting go of your preconceived ideas of what's holding you back. It's your self-esteem is honestly what it is. When you increase your self-esteem and understand that worry, stress, and doubt, when you can let go of those things, you're going to start to see a lot of changes in how you physically feel, how you mentally feel, and also how you project yourself in the world.
So what I'm hearing from you and what you teach and stuff, all the knowledge stuff, and so how do you build this business? It sounds like you also teach that side as well, is a predominant part of what you do. Would I hear you correctly?
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know that I would say that I teach because I'm still a student myself. I've applied everything that I've learned, and I actually run a study group that has accountability and support all put into it. But it's less of me being a teacher and more of me being in a mastermind with other people, and we're all learning together. The people who are more successful than others put a hand down and help everybody else come up with them.
Okay.
So phase number one, we kind of talked about that already. Phase number two is going into more of building relationships. Relationships are key. And phase number one is helping you build that knowledge. Phase number two is helping you analyze all those various exit strategies I talked about, whether it's a fix and flip, buy and hold, long-term rental, short-term rental, understanding how you're going to get out of the deal to make your profit. If you don't know that, you're probably not going to make a profit. Analyzing the deal, building relationships, and understanding how to fund your deal. For that first deal that I had, when I got under contract, I had already built my knowledge and my credibility and my relationship. I picked up the phone and I just started calling a few people. After the third phone call, I had the deal funded using 100% other people's money. That's not an accident. All the knowledge, credibility, and the relationships that I had all played together with the fact that the deal that I had under contract was an actually good deal. If you don't have a good deal and you don't have any of those things built, you're not going to get stuff funded. And even if you have a good deal, but you're not credible, it's not going to get funded. So you need to have all those things playing together.
So yeah, that's, you're painting a real good picture of the process. What's the next point you were, one of the currencies?
Well, I've talked about the currencies, and then phase three is take action.
Take action.
Yep. Once you have knowledge, once you have credibility, once you have those relationships in play, start taking action on what you've learned. That's the biggest roadblock that I see a lot of people hit. And probably one of the reasons why people hit this roadblock is because of fear. Fear of what's going to happen if you fail. But I can tell you this, we're all thinking fear, oh, it's risky, real estate's risky, everything's risky. But inherent in risk, what that means is there's a chance you might fail and there's a chance you might win. If you do nothing, there's 100% guaranteed you're going to fail. You're going to
Exactly.
stay exactly where you're at right now. So having a chance of winning and a chance of failing is better than having no chance of winning.
I agree. Is being able to, what got you over? I know there isn't a person that doesn't have fear in any circumstance that's new, or there's a potential for risk. Some things are reality. If you do these things, you're going to get maybe a positive result. If you do these type of things, you're going to get this type of result. And being aware of that could create fear. But what do you think the number one fear people have out there that you've seen? Number one, your fear. What was your number one fear?
Well, at the base of it, it's the feel of failure. But why are you afraid to fail is the next question. It could be because you don't want to look bad in front of other people. It could be, and that's probably the majority of it, comes back to your self-esteem. But when you can, again, let go of that and realize, what's the worst that could happen? If I fail, am I going to die? Probably not.
Right.
You can pick yourself up and go again. And let's say you totally fail financially, like totally fail. Well, okay, so maybe bankruptcy. Maybe you're going to have to start over from square one. 7 years from now, all that is gone and you can start over again. And in that 7 years, you're starting over, not from scratch, you're starting over from experience.
Exactly. You know, what we learn, see, a lot of people say if they fail, it's not really failing. Is what can you learn to move you forward? Look at people that are succeeding. They fail many times, but they don't make the same mistakes.
Right.
They improve on them. They go, okay, I was deficient in that area. I'm not going to make that mistake again. So I call it failing forward is the only way you're going to succeed. And
Absolutely.
and that's where gratitude is. It causes you to say, hey, I'm grateful that I had that experience because now I know through awareness that wasn't the path I needed to go, but these things worked. And so, and what other people think. Too many people make their decisions in their life to try something, whether it be real estate or going into any other business, a coffee shop or network marketing or whatever it is. People go to if I fail, what are people going to think about Tom Ginn? Well, once you get over that, first of all, you realize they don't think about you anyway.
Exactly.
We think, but it's really, that's what it is. A lot of the self-image, we build ourselves about, if I fail, what does that look like to other people? I tell you what, I like people that fail and are moving forward because they demonstrate there's a path to get what you want. You got to fail to learn, right? How many times as a child, did we fail walking? We're falling all the time.
Absolutely.
But that's pretty much the same principle is the fear. So getting on what other people think. Have you ever encountered people that have that syndrome of fear of success?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the other side of the coin. Some of them are scared of failure, but also some are scared of success. And typically that is what was ingrained in them as a child, and it has, manifested itself in the adult mind. And that is something that we are required to work on as well.
Yeah.
Money is, depending on your background, many people will see that as evil, or people who are rich are stuck up or proud or bad or whatever. And if that's the mindset that you have, is wealthy people are something negative, well, I don't want to be that, so I'm going to push money away when it comes to me.
Exactly. And I can relate my story. Anyone wants to know that story, I'd be glad to talk to them. But anyway, it's a tricky balance between your belief systems and taking action and of the things that you're teaching. Where do you live in? What, Milwaukee, or where do you live?
Milwaukee, yep, in the Milwaukee,
Okay.
Tosa area.
Okay. And in your teaching this, do your clients and stuff, where do they come from? Here locally, or?
Yes, most of them are locally here in Milwaukee. However, due to the internet, you can live anywhere you want.
Okay. Okay.
What I know about real estate investing is applicable primarily to the United States. Obviously, there's real estate everywhere in the world, but laws and things differ in other countries. And what you learn about real estate investing in the U.S. can absolutely be applied to the Caribbean or to Europe or to wherever. It's just the things that, like the laws and that type of intricacy, that you're going to want to definitely seek local competent advice.
Okay. When you talk about relationships in building this business, you need relationships to help and support and encourage you. And, that comes from your spouse. You got a beautiful wife, and I've met her, and you got to have that network, people that believe in you, like-minded people to hold you up and encourage you to go after your goals and dreams. But in the relationships, what are the things, if you were talking to me and I say, this is the area I want to go into in real estate, when you say relationship, what does that encounter? What type of people, what type of disciplines should I have in that network? Is it accountants, mortgage people? What attorneys? What would be the things that you'd recommend? What does that look like?
Absolutely, great question. You've already hit on several of them. Legal advice, so that's going to be real estate attorneys, business attorneys, CPAs, bookkeepers, accountants, all types of contractors, plumbers, electricians, handymen, roofers, any type of general contractor or subcontractor who would work under a GC. Those are people that you absolutely need to know. Then on the real estate side of it, there's real estate agents, there's mortgage brokers, title agents, life insurance agents, because when you are in real estate, life insurance is actually a really huge tool that you can use to become your own bank, borrow from yourself, buy real estate with life insurance. Of course, you also want the death benefit. And then other types of insurance, property insurance, that you're going to need. There are so many things that I didn't know until I got into being a business owner. Like, having an umbrella policy is a super cheap way of cheap liability that will protect you against all kinds of stuff. So yeah, there's all kinds of different professionals that you need. One of the best types of relationships are people who are doing the same thing as you. You can share tips, share knowledge, share all of the professionals that we just talked about. You can share contact information, referrals from other people. So people who are doing the same type of thing as you shouldn't necessarily be thought of as competition. You can think of them as collaboration.
Absolutely. I love what you just said there. Too many people in business think they're competing, and in reality, there's an abundance of opportunity out there. It's just a frame of reference, and that you want to seek those type of people out because they're willing to help. I found that out in my career and the things I'm doing. And even though I have other coaches, we're not in competition. We're there to support and help each other, because what I do in coaching is going to be totally different than somebody else's. Even though our objectives are the same, is to lift people up, help them feel better about themselves and that type of thing. So I think it's a good mindset that you're not in competition with another person in real estate. Now, when you got two contracts going across the table, that might change that a little bit, right? The competitive side comes out, but in reality, there's no competition. It's only between our ears on that. Great advice. You mentioned something. I got to bring this up. Photography is my creative passion. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That's great.
Yeah, I had my own photography company. I love sports and all that. I got that. I'm a concept person. I see things as through the lens. I'm not a detail oriented person, so I'm all concept and vision and all that thing. What my photography company is beyond the mind's eye is what do you see beyond your physical eye? And that's what I try to portray in my photography, get people to look at things differently. And that carries over into everything I do. So I love the fact you're a photographer. That gives you the side, that creative side. And I believe that's part of success in business, is that you have a creative mind that says, hey, what are the possibilities? What is that going to look like? Right?
Yes, absolutely. And that ties in with not having the money. And when you feel like that's your stumbling block, if you don't have the resources, be resourceful.
Exactly. Yeah. Be resourceful. And knowing your why, it's like I go back to real estate. It's like one of these things, you got that vision of that mansion on the top of the hill. We'll just use that metaphor. And so you see it, and you draw it out. The architect draws the picture before it's even built, right? But guess what? Along the way to get that, there's going to be obstacles, right? Gosh, hey, I got this beautiful sketch and the plans for this mansion, but man, I don't have any land. Oh, I better go find the land. Oh, then I don't have any money. You don't let the obstacles keep you from going to work, because if your vision is strong enough and that thing you're teaching, those things will show up through creativity and those type of things. Because when you're building the walls up, you may have a problem with those pipes don't run that direction. So the whole thing is in building your real estate is knowing there's going to be obstacles, right?
Absolutely.
Do you crumble at the first obstacle?
Oh, you cry and go to mommy.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. There's three main, I guess, pillars of mine that I've found have been really important: is be committed, be consistent, and be creative. I committed to succeeding in real estate investing, no matter how long it took, no matter how many hours I had to work on a weekly basis. I committed to that. And then I consistently did that until successful. And when I first started, I was not committed and I was not consistent. And that's why I failed to have the results that I wanted to have. But after I committed, things started changing. And it's not necessarily that when you commit, things are going to change overnight. But when you commit and you stay consistent and you creatively think of ways to succeed or ways to move forward past failure, that's when you start seeing results. And they can be slow results, but they are results and they build over time.
You shared something there, then I think it's important as we're talking real estate, but I think it goes beyond that to succeed in that you made a commitment. But I also like to, as coming from my coaching side, is that words have power, but when you're committed, you got to take it to a next step. It's called insist.
Yeah.
You're going to insist that the outcome, you're not going to give up. You're going to be consistent, but you're going to insist that you get the outcome you seek. It's different than commitment. Commitment's strong, but I believe if you insist that there's no room for failure, you won't fail. Or
Correct.
If you do have obstacles, you're insisting that you're going to get up and take the next step again. So I just thought I'd throw that out there for the audience, because it's a collaboration of sharing good ideas and on that. So consistency, got it in anything in life. You got to be consistently practicing the disciplines that are required to win, whether it's be in relationship, whether it be in sales, whether it be in real estate, is that consistency of doing the right things, right? Changing old habits, beliefs, and those type of things. What was the third one you said there, Ian?
Committed, consistent, and creative.
Creative. That blows my hair back. As I say that, I got hair. It blows my hair back. What blows your hair back? It
blew my hair back already.
I love you, my friend. We're all having fun here, and with that, is creativity. When you have a strong vision of the outcome you want, and you do, because you're moving forward, and we'll ask you some specifics where you are now, but it's that creativity that's your genius starts
Yeah,
showing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
As an example for creativity, I just submitted an offer on a property this morning, and it's a property where I'm purchasing it subject to the mortgage. What that means is the owner has a house with a mortgage on it, and the house is worth more than the mortgage. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be paying him cash for his equity, and then the remainder of the mortgage, I'm going to start making the payment to the bank. So for easy numbers, let's say the property is worth $100,000 and his mortgage is $50,000. That means he's got $50,000 in equity. Write him a check for $50,000, and then I start making the payments to the bank for the remainder $50,000. What that means is I only have to come up with $50,000 instead of $100,000. That's not the exact numbers for this deal, but that makes it easy so you understand what it is. So what that means as well is I don't need to qualify for a mortgage because there's already a mortgage in place. I can simply start paying the mortgage. That is a fantastic way of being creative.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're creative, these are the glass half full or half empty. It's your perspective. And, being creative, being tied into your why, and being committed and consistent and insistent on it, those all come together. They don't happen independently of each other. And so you started out with one property. Was it a long-term rental? What was the first property you bought?
Yep, it was a single-family home, long-term rental, and actually bittersweet. I just sold that property about 2 weeks ago. It's my first property I ever had. We sold for a great profit, but being my first property, it was a little bit sentimental. But it was time to sell it. The market's high, and we can take the profits and put them into what I'm focusing on now, which is short-term furnished rentals. I am super excited about short-term furnished rentals. What I'm doing with this is instead of buying properties, I rent apartment units in larger apartment buildings, like 50, 60 unit apartment buildings. So I rent individual apartments, I furnish them, and then I re-rent them out on a short-term basis. And understanding that it's COVID right now and travel is at much lower than it used to be, you would think that this type of business wouldn't make as much money. And across the board, overall, that's probably correct. However, when you start with who am I going to serve, who's my ideal customer, and you start with that in mind, and you serve that person, you're in a totally different ballgame rather than just trying to be everything to everybody. So my specific customer that I serve are medical travelers. And being in Wauwatosa near Froedtert Hospital, there are traveling doctors, nurses, patients, medical students. There's less medical students traveling now at MCW, but there are still plenty of doctors, nurses, and patients. And because I identified who did I want to serve and created my business all around that, I have a whole lot more likelihood of success. And I've been around 90% occupied since March. So it's been a fantastic business model.
Yeah, people that travel, from one institution to another, medical support and educators and all that, they get tired of staying at the Holiday Inn, right? Or
right.
a colleague's house, all those things, living in that. Now you just create a home environment that makes it's in a they feel like they're at home, right? For it may be 2 weeks at a time type thing, or a month at a time, or
my customers could be anywhere from 3 nights to as long as they want to pay. My longest booking up to now has been about 3 months.
Okay,
but that could change. It could be longer. One of the key things here is understanding who do you want to serve, and when you understand that and you speak to the landlord, because I'm not buying these buildings, I'm renting from a landlord of larger apartment buildings, I'm able to share with him who I serve, which goes a long ways towards fostering a good relationship with the landlord. And in most residential leases, there are clauses in there that say, you're not allowed to lease, you're not allowed to do Airbnb, or you're not allowed to do short-term rentals or things like that. But when you're able to convey to the owner the benefit that you bring him, who you're going to serve, it's pretty easy once you properly understand all that and you use the right words to speak to the landlord. It's not hard to do that. Also, when we think of this in terms of commercial real estate, this type of rental arbitrage is the norm. If you think of any restaurant like Subway, McDonald's, any of those restaurants, they don't own the building that they operate out of. They are renting that building from somebody and then running their business through that building. I'm doing the exact same thing except for residential apartments.
Yeah, it's a great concept, and you're fortunate to recognize that the need in that community and the population you serve and I know you, and the ROI is good, right?
It is.
Yeah. So,
yep.
Where do you see yourself in your real estate? You one of your goals is photography, and you said travel, and
yep.
the missionary. Why don't you share those 3 reasons why you're doing what you're doing?
That leads perfectly into my why. The reason I do real estate is to create profit, and so that way I can fund what I want to do. The business is was creating the profit. So my love of travel, my love of photography, I want to be able to do those things freely, which means real estate is going to fund my desired lifestyle. Secondly, with my background of being a missionary kid, with my parents being missionaries, I'm on the missions board for my church here in Wisconsin. And one of the things I've seen is that when missionaries come to a retirement age, I don't know how much anybody watching this knows anything about missionaries, but they don't make a lot of money.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Retirement is a big problem for missionaries. So when they retire from being a missionary, their church typically will stop funding them, supporting them, because it makes sense. They're not out in the mission field anymore, and so they're not going to continue getting support. When the pastor retires from the church doesn't continue to pay him. It's the same thing for missionaries. And it wouldn't make sense to continue funding them, because if churches continued funding missionaries after they retire, pretty soon it's just a retirement fund. It's not a missionary fund. So there's still a need, however, for these missionaries to eat after they retire and live. And what my dream is to be able to support these people after they've retired being a missionary, so that they can, continue to eat and do life.
Yeah. So are you looking to be able to create a foundation or something like that to support that cause? Is that the ultimate picture?
Right.
Okay. Wow. And, that gives missionaries a little extra incentive to take the risk to go out and do God's work, right? Because they still got to figure, what's going to happen when I'm done with this? We're human beings. We still have needs, right? So I congratulate you that you're supporting those things are important to you from that side of the world. I think givers gain, and supporting whatever we call it, the higher power. Because you and I and the people we know, we're all seeking the same thing. It's just different ways people go after it. So that's an admirable purpose and reason. Building wealth is you can't help other people until you create wealth for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And I would love to have as many people as possible be business owners. Of course, not everybody can be a business owner, because we need people working your regular job so that society can continue. But there are a certain number of people who have the mindset to be business owners. And being successful as a business owner takes a lot of internal commitment, those things that we've already talked about. And for those people who want that, I'm all there to support. I guess what I'd like to offer is go to my website there, and you can schedule a time to, you and I can connect, and I'll just give you a 30-minute complimentary time where we can figure out where you are now to where you want to go and put you on a roadmap to be there.
Well, yeah, that's, that invitation, I was going to make that for you. So, but we did a great job there. Yeah. The most important thing is that, Ian brings a lot to help people realize their dreams and visions. Now, real estate may not be for you, right? But it's at least an option. Opportunities come across us all the time. And I think fear keeps people from looking. And I just encourage anybody that's hearing this, reach out to Ian, have that dialogue, pick his brain, pick his mind. Success leaves clues. Find people that are succeeding. And if it fills your passions and needs, follow that person. You will
Absolutely.
know. And that's my recommendation out there is reach out and explore until you get the answer, and you'll know if it's right for you or not.
Yeah, there's four.
Right?
Yes, correct. There's four main types of people that I come across when it comes to real estate investing. One is people who have money, but they don't have any time. They want to make their money work for themselves. I can provide a good rate of return, good return on investment. The second type of person are people who maybe have money, maybe don't have money, but they want to be active in real estate investing like me. I'm out there doing real estate transactions. I'm actively working a real estate business. So that's the second type of person. Maybe they have money, maybe they don't. That doesn't matter, but they want to actively be doing it. Third type of people are people who have real estate and they have a challenge. I can solve that challenge. All we have to do is have a conversation about it. There's so many creative ways to solve challenges. And the fourth type of person is somebody who's just simply not interested in real estate, which is, like you said, totally fine.
And, real estate, we think of all sorts of images about real estate, but you know what? It's a commodity that everybody needs. And if you can provide a better avenue for people that are using real estate, tenants and those type of things, and you create a win for them, it's a win for you. Creating, a lot of people think people in real estate they put some sort of tag on them that is negative. And in reality, most landlords want to provide comfortable, safe environments because they're the ones that win long term, right? So, and I know that's where you come from. Anything else today that you'd like to leave in parting, besides how to get a hold of you through your website, frozenfires.com? Well, I got to ask you a question. I've been meaning to ask that of you for quite a while. Frozen Fires, what is that reference? What is I think everybody has a name of their business, has some sort of meaning in and around it. What does that mean?
Frozen Fires is a easy to remember, it's easy to remember, and what's the word? It's escaping me. It's where it contradicts itself. What's that word?
It's a paradox.
Exactly. It's a paradox that contradicts itself, but it's easy to remember. So I came up with that word back in high school, and I found the website. It was available. I took it, and it's been mine ever since.
That is the creative side. That's part of, that's the brand, and you're going to remember, I won't forget Frozen Fires.
Yep.
The two contrasts, frozen's cold, fires are hot. Two opposites, right? But
you got it.
You got it. I needed to ask that today. So hopefully that will help other people remember it as well.
You got the answer.
Yeah. So, I'm going to just, anything else? And I'm going to wrap it up here. Man, I tell you what, 15 minutes or almost an hour flies. So,
Well, I'm just super grateful for you, Tom, and for our friendship, and I'm looking forward to continuing to get to know you better.
as well. So I'm going to put you in the green room, I guess is the best way to call it. And I'm just going to sign out here and then just hang on and we'll just chat for a few minutes. And we get to go out and enjoy the blessed, sunny, warm day here in Wisconsin. 74
Absolutely.
degrees, I think, what I saw on my phone a little while ago. So it's cool.
Gorgeous.
All right. So I'm going to put you in the back room here. And Ian Key, great individual, known him here for several years now, and I always look forward to having conversation with him. He is a person of spirit. His heart's great. His intentions are admirable, and he's definitely somebody that if you want to clone yourself after, I would highly encourage you to reach out to Ian. Not just in real estate, just as a person that can bring some wisdom and some knowledge to you to help you win. So with that, Ian, I appreciate you with all gratitude. So we're going to be signing out. G is for gratitude. Embrace it in your heart. Use it in all circumstances. Be grateful for things you have. Be grateful for things you don't have. Be grateful for the future expectations that you have for yourself, because gratitude brings you to a different place, to a different level of awareness to get you through the difficulties of today or the future. With that all said, we're signing out. G-Force. See you on Monday.